Hello, hello. Good Woch. Here we go. I'm sorry I couldn't hear you because I had the speakers on mute. I apologize. Anyhow, a good walk and a good week for everyone. And here you go. Tremendous Shabbos Parshas Bechukosai. It's a very, very very meaningful, very clear Parsha on October 7th, or afterwards, when I spoke to my Rav about what was going on, and he said, what's the what's the wonderment? Take a look, Parshas Bechukosai. Everything is written out, spelled out very effectively, very straightforward. But there's another question which, based on the Rambam, is answered. It's a question that many tzaddikim dwell on, and that is, the Baruch Hu says, if you're going to follow my rules and be mekayim whatever it is said, then what will happen? Your enemies will run away from you, and you will enjoy financial stability and wealth, and you'll live in peace. I mean, what kind of a schar is this? I mean, a person lives in this world, everybody should live, a life of wealth and health and everything. But this is Gashmias, anything in this world. And the mitzvahs are total ruchnis. Gemara says, quite openly, schar mitzvah b'hai al maleka. This entire world is incapable of providing the vessel to contain the schar of one mitzvah, the reward of one mitzvah. So the Rambam basically, talks about this, and he says that there are two separate issues. One of them is the schar, that's the payment, the salary, the reward, whatever you want to call it. And there's quite another issue, which is the expenses. When you have, let's say, an employee who is your salesman, you need to provide him with the wherewithal to be able to fulfill his job. And maybe you have to give him a car and give him, an expense account, as it were. Now, the better the salesman is, the bigger is his expense account. In other words, let's say that you have an incredible salesman. I mean, unbelievable guy. He brings in big orders, huge clients. This guy needs to have access to the most expensive restaurants. He's wining and dining, the biggest clients there are. He maybe needs to go play golf with them. So you need, a whole set of golf clubs or, very expensive, I don't know. Maybe also needs a very fancy car, maybe even a limo. And it's to stay in very fancy hotels, maybe even fly on private planes. It all depends on the kind of return that he brings in for his sales. You as an employer, you have a salesman who brings in, tens or hundreds of millions of dollars in sales. What's the big deal to give him 10 million or 50 million in expense account? Buy him a private jet. Why not? Whatever you give him, he gives you back tenfold. It has nothing to do with the salary. Salary is something else. We're just talking about providing him with the tools to do his job. The better the return, the better the outline. This is, according to the Rambam, is the meaning of all the blessings that the Torah promises in Kriyat Shema and Parshas Bechukosai, whatever it is. What happens if a person, is good at being Mekayim the Torah? And so HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Everything, this world was created in order to enable a person to serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu to the best of his ability. You're doing a good job, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to give you everything you need, to do a better job. There's another shita that holds that which is basically, stems in with this, it fits in with this particular shita, and that is that which HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, if you hear, my commands, you follow my commands, this is what's going to happen, is not a reward, but what it is a consequence, and should serve you as a telltale sign to know that you're doing the Ratzon Hashem. When you're doing what Kadosh Baruch Hu wants, you're close to Kadosh Baruch Hu. I think that this is the shita of Reb Chaim Volozhin. That's what I heard. That the closer you are, to Shleimus, to the ideal, this closer you are to Shleimus, also in Gashmis, also in Ruchnis. I mean, it's spiritually and physically. It's the same thing. So the Berditchev, or the Levi Yosef Berditchev says that the world rewards are nothing but a signal that you're doing what you need to be doing, and that the spiritual and the physical are basically working together. So this is as far as this particular point is concerned. Let us, B'ezrat Hashem, take a look at Sipurey Baal Shem. Maybe we'll read two of them because the first one is short. Our teacher, the Baal Shem Tov, said on a Mama Chazal, Kol Torah she'en ima malacha, soifo betela. Any Torah that while you're busy doing it, it does not include some kind of a malacha, physical work. At the end, it's going to be bottle, going to be annulled. Malacha means is askos, means busy with something that you are keeping yourself busy. Any Torah that doesn't have with it, a hard work of toiling, is askos of Ahavas Yisrael. Sefer Betela, any shtickle Torah that you learn, it doesn't bring to a malacha, in other words, it doesn't bring to Ahavas Yisrael. This Torah is not a Torah. That's one of the three Torahs of the Goyen Tzaddik Levi Yitzchak Berditchev. He heard from Morena Baal Shem Tov, and that awoken in him, has awakened in him, this galus of the etzem of his holding neshama, that with his very high avodah of Mesiras Nefesh to advocate good on every single man and woman of Israel, he was zoche to put it on Eichel Schus. Abbas Yisrael. Abbas Yisrael, loving every Jew, is the very same thing as loving HaKadosh Baruch Hu, is the very same as loving the Torah. The thing is that they said that the Zohar says that the Torah, the Kadosh Baruch Hu, and Am Yisrael are actually one thing. They're all synonymous. They're all one thing. The machshava in this, that every Torah doesn't have Havas Yisrael in it, as Ishkan Torah, it means that if you learn Torah and it does not lead you, whether you're working on it or whether it's something that happens by itself, as a result of your limud Torah, to Havas Yisrael, that means that your Torah is a certain, it's like an individual thing that you're doing for yourself, kind of thing. You're learning Torah in a manner that does not, you do not become Torah, because if you become Torah, Torah is Am Yisrael. And they say Israel, and it says this is Rosh Tevis, Yesh, Shishim, Riboy, Oisios, LaTorah. There are 600,000 letters to the Torah. So the Torah, they says that the Torah has 600,000 letters. There are 600,000 Neshamas Israel. So when a person learns Torah properly, he's including himself with the completeness of 600,000 Nishmas Israel. If a person doesn't do that, if the Torah of a person does not lead him to love Am Yisrael, it means that his Torah is lacking. It means that his Torah is like a private isaskas. I mean, Baruch Hashem, these are great things. You learn Torah, any Torah that you learn, any pasuk, any letter, whatever this is unbelievable, because Baruch has nachas from it. But that's not what the Torah is about. Adrabah, Rabbeinu says that if a person has problem learning Torah, if he wants to learn Torah Lishma, he wants to be Zecher to Torah Lishma and everything the Torah has to offer, Rabbeinu says a person should be very careful not to speak disparagingly on any Jew, because every Jew is a letter of the Torah. It's a letter of Nishmas Torah. So this is, the cornerstone of the Sichos Baal Shem, and at least that which everybody knows about the Baal Shem Tov, besides the secrets, the Seidos, and so forth and so on. The union of Avos Yisrael, because the entire Am Yisrael is one thing. It's a fascinating thing, really. There is a guarantee, a co-guarantee, Kol Yisrael Arevim Zeh B'zeh. Each Jew is a guarantor of all the other Jews. And there is an amazing Torah that Rabbeinu reveals about that which is written in Sefer Yetzirah, that one stone builds one house, two stones, that means letter, 2 stones build 2 houses, 3 stones build 6 houses, 4 stones build 24 houses, meaning that it talks about letters. It talks about every letter that a word with one letter can only have, one combination. But the minute that you have a word that is made out of two letters, let's say Av, it's Aleph base, you can also make it Ba, coming. Because there are two combinations. So two letters make two combinations. If you take a letter, a word that has three letters, you can make six combinations out of it. And if the word has four letters, like Shem Havaya Baruch Hu, or any kind of Shem Adnas, you have 24 possible combinations, and so forth and so on. This is a progression, which was called geometrical progression. It means something which is growing exponentially. That every additional number multiplies the results of all the previous ones. One makes one letter, two letters makes two words, two combinations, three letters makes six. Now the 3 times 2 is 6. Now 4, you have 4 times 6, and so forth and so on. Which is 24. Then 5 means 5 times 24, and so forth and so on. So very quickly, you're going into the millions and billions and trillions and gogillions, whatever those numbers are. Because when you add just one letter, the number of combinations changes geometrically, like exponentially.
Rabbi, I just want to say,
Yeah.
I just want to say, I'm sorry to interrupt, but I think they call it a factorial in mathematics. It's like 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1, 6 times 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. They call it a factorial. You multiply by the lower number every time. Just to clarify.
Could be. I'm not, I'm not a bokeh in that. I know is that the next letter multiplies, the sum total of all, of the previous letters, progression. That 1 times 2 times 3 times 4 times 5, and then the 6, times that, and then 7 times so forth and so on. Anyhow, we're talking about the same thing. You're talking about something, a number which grows so quickly to such astronomical numbers. And this is a very, very important point. Rabbeinu says that every Jew that comes to the minyan, the Zohar says that if there will be just one town or one minyan, one congregation, that will serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu properly, the Geula will come. Comes the question, why? Because of one. How can one congregation, one shul, correct the entire world? There's another quote unquote problem to be thrown into the mix, and that is the Gemara says that every single mitzvah had like, I don't know, 600,000 and whatever it is, conviction and brisos that were struck on that. Covenants that was struck on that. Every single mitzvah times 613. You have each one of 613. Actually, there are over 600,000 covenants that were based on it, and not only now every single Jew is supposed to be a guarantor for another. So every single Jew is chayv with 600,000 times, 613 times over 600,000, and every Yid is responsible, is a guarantor for all those brisos, all these, of his fellow Jew, which means that every single Jew is actually obligated with untold trillions of brisos, of every single Jew, of every single mitzvah. How can anybody be yotze that? How can you do good with that? The answer is with every single Jew coming together, riboy abati, that let's say there are 30,000 people coming to Ummah, Rosh Hashanah. And somebody talks to you and says, listen, you should go to Ummah on Rosh Hashanah. You're doing big schus, a big inyan for Am Yisrael. And you're thinking, like, how much difference am I making? There are going to be 30,000 people there. You can't even tell the difference if I'm there, if I'm not there. But the answer is that this is not so. You can imagine how many combinations there are with 30,000 people. This exponential growth of combinations with the 30,000. Now you're talking about one more, the difference between with you and without you cannot even be imagined. Like the difference between 4 and 5, okay? 4 is 24, 5 is 100 and, 20 some. I'd say you're talking about a huge difference. One more, it's a totally new world, totally new thing. So when the people come together with the Rotzon Tesera Kodesh Baruch Hu, then they bring everything to the Nekuda, to the Shirish. Everything becomes one. Then the number escalates like that. Because if every single Jew, every single person is just looking out for himself, he's not combining with everybody else. He's not bringing about this kind of multiplication. So when we get together, that it does. That's the secret what Yaakov Avinu says on when he gave the brachas to his children. He says that about Shimon and Levi. He says, "Bekalam atachat kvoidi," don't mention my covet with their kahal, the multitude. And Shimon and Levi, they're saying that they're talking about. Yaakov Avinu says, "Don't mention me with the mice of Korach, and don't mention me with the mice of Shimon, Zimri, the whole story without, following Bilam and everything." These two things, mice of Korach and the mice of Zimri, each one is a consequence of laxity in one major midah. The inyan of Korach is the midah of lack of emunas tzaddikim. Korach means strife, means contention, means questioning and disputing the veracity of tzaddik emes, P'chinas Moshe Rabbeinu. That's Korach. Yaakov Avinu says, don't mention me there. The inyan of Zimri is talking about the inyan of Shmiras Bris, of sanctity. We know what's the story with Zimri and what happened. There's a whole inyan of Balak. When you're talking about Yaakov Avinu, and compared to Esav, so he says the nafshes Esav, the souls of Esav, he says six, it's called nefashis. There's nefashis is in the plural. Yaakov Avinu talk about 70, it says nefesh, one nefesh, because they are all combined into one. The inyan is that the lack of emunas tzaddikim and pgam bris, that's the thing that separates a Jew from another. because it is through the koyach of the tzaddik emes that everything comes together. We have to understand, Nelson speaks about it. Really, most of us, practically almost all of us, don't really daven properly. Most people, are finishing the cheshbonos and what it is they're going to do with their business during Shemona Esrei. And even Chassidim and Shemaisim, truth is that even Ehrliche Yidden, people that are truly great Yidden cannot daven a complete Shemona Esrei b'kavon. Only the perfect tzaddikim, G'dolei Malo, they can daven the entire davening in full kavana. Everybody else, it's a problem. Enochinami, every single word that you mentioned, the kavana, any type of kavana, is gevaldik, and Baruch has an amazing pleasure from it. Vadai. But the nekuda remains that when the tefillah is not the way it's supposed to be, it cannot ascend. Cannot ascend to the Shemayim. The only way that it can ascend to the Shemayim is when you connect yourself with your tefillah, and then your Torah and your mitzvahs to the tzaddik emes, the tzaddik ador, and he elevates all the fragments, all the words here, word there, letter here, letter there, whatever it is that you do, he elevates everything and makes it one. It all goes after Kodesh Baruch Hu. Then all these multiplications are happening. But the minute that there is a strife, the minute there is a division, the minute there's a separation between one Jew and the next, what happens is that it become individuals. As we said, there is, and something that alludes to this from the world of physics. We said, the scientists said that there are 4 subatomic forces, which correspond to the 4 elements. You have the powerful atomic force, the weak atomic force, the electromagnetic force, that keeps the particles, together in shape, and gravity. Now, gravity is the weakest of all the 4 forces. But at the same time, this is the most influential force in the entire universe. The reason for it is that all the other forces, that are electromagnetic, the electromagnetic and the weak atomic force and the powerful atomic force, are all individual forces. You don't get up. You don't have the power of each atom does not add to the electromagnetic force of one atom is not added to the electromagnetic force of another atom, and so forth and so on. Masha'enken in the gravity. Gravity is the weakest force, but all the gravity forces of all the atoms are all adding up. P'chinas achdus. That's why gravity is the strongest force in the universe. The Yesod HaOfer. Yesod HaOfer, this is the thing, this is the tzaddik Yesod Olam that combines everything, it makes it into one thing. And now you have to understand, it's not just that that the tzaddik is combining everything to do into one thing. The tzaddik gives you the koyach. Now you're saying, let's say 10 letters of the 10 words of your davening v'kavanah. With the koyach of the tzaddik flowing through you, you get more ambitious to rise it to 20 words, to 50 words. And the kavanah, instead of just, think about what you're saying, but saying it with real force, everything becomes more. And when everything becomes more, it is an additional, every single letter of the davening Yosef Kavanah is added to these houses, to these combinations. So a tefillah that you actually say 10 words bekavana is way different than a tefillah that you do 50 words bekavana. It is just 5 times more. It's infinite times more powerful. And it makes the entire total of Tfilas Yisrael infinitely more powerful. This is the things that covers all the covenants that one Jew is guaranteeing each and every Jew in the world. Immense Indian. That's what the Baal Shem Tov Torah tonight. That any Torah doesn't have Avos Yisrael. That it's not, there's not connective tissue of the union of Am Yisrael becoming one. Coming to think through the tzaddik emes, it's Ishkan Torah. Yeah, it's an individual Torah. Kodesh Baruch Hu has pleasure from it for sure, but it's not that kind of Torah, that converts the world and brings it to where the world needs to be when Mashiach was up to bring Mashiach and the Geula Shlema. Let's take a quick look, B'ezrat Hashem, to okay. Hold on. That's not what I wanted to show. Nope. I apologize. This is not it. There's not it either. Just 1 second. Let's stop this share. Let's try it again. Why can't I find it? Here we are. Okay. Sichas 244. When it says Shamati me'echad mechshuve anashim, I heard from one of the important Elchayid Nish Kasher v'yesh Shamayim v'avid Hashem b'emes, a real Elchayid. Amal Rabbeinu Zohar told him, Sheyesh b'nei Odom, da people, Ovdei Hashem, She'ein Hashem Yisborach marele ma shepalu k'mechayim. HaKadosh Baruch Hu does not show them the results of everything that they toiled and worked for during their lifetime. Only after they leave this world, then they are shown everything they accomplished in this world. As Yiru Mashapalu, then they will see everything they accomplished. Ve'evanti, and I understood, said, he told them this, La'inin Ischaskos, the Mechazakim, the Baalita Medai shouldn't get discouraged. Masha Osak B'Avodas Hashem is working so hard in Avodas Hashem and hasn't seen in him any kind of change, any pula. Because there is such a reality that a person cannot see anything throughout his lifetime, whatever it is he was able to accomplish only after he's finishing all his days here in this world, he will see it olam haba. This is obviously a very, very important yesod, important foundation to understand. This world is a world that we want everything here, we want everything here and everything now. Because truthfully, in this world, there is nothing but the here and now. In fact, there is nothing but the illusion of the here and now. The only here and now that really makes any difference is whatever it is you're doing Avodas Hashem. And when you take a look at, let's say, money, okay? Because of what could be more here and now than money? The answer is money has nothing to do with the here and now. There's a story about 2 brothers that had, their father left them a considerable amount of wealth, gold and coins, whatever. And they decided, being that the ups and downs in a person's lifetime, there may come a time that a person's luck goes down and it's mishamayim. There's nothing he can do. is nothing he can do. When the luck is down, it's down. Every person in his lifetime, times when he has money and times when he doesn't have money. For each person, it's different. What does it mean? I have money or I don't have money. For some, he doesn't have anything mamish. For some person who's who's busy and used to handling millions, suddenly he doesn't have that. Whatever, each one has his own. Whatever his time, he doesn't have money. So being a decided, the muzzle goes up, person has plenty of money. Muzzle only goes down, person has very little money, or none at all. So these brothers made a deal between amongst them, that what they're going to do, they're going to take a certain amount of their money, and what they're going to do is they're going to bury it somewhere. So when the time comes, when they run out of luck, they will know that they have this money stashed away, and they won't touch it. And when their luck will turn again, they can access it. Made a deal to put the money down, and they're not going to touch it. They're not going to think about it. Now, one of the brothers, during the time afterwards, went to that place where that treasure was stashed, and he realized that the money was stolen. There was no money there. His brother, on the other hand, had no idea that this happened. During the entire time when they were poor, the brother that knew that the treasure has been looted was beside himself. He was despondent. He couldn't believe his worst luck and everything. His brother, on the other hand, lived a good life. He didn't, as far as he was concerned, he has this stash of money buried. There's nothing to worry about. All the hanua from money in this world is from the illusion that you have money. If you don't have money, you think you have money, you might as well, it doesn't make a difference whether you have money or don't. If you think that you have money, you have all the pleasure that the money can give you. This world is the world of here and now. And it's there's a tendency because of that. It's a normal human tendency, but it's influenced by this world, that I've been working so hard, learning Torah or serving Kodesh Baruch or davening or whatever it is. And I was Mesa Nefesh on various inyan, whatever it is. And I feel the same bummer I always was. Everyone says you should know that truthfully, most people that really serve a Kodesh Baruch Hu, most people see something. They see something. Especially the big tzaddikim bevadai. Rabbeinu said that what a person sees, what a person actually did, are two very separate things. Ad kadei kach, they said, Moshe Rabbeinu, in the Zohar Kodesh says that Shimon Bar Yochai said that he has achieved a madrega beyond Moshe Rabbeinu in that particular sense, that it says about Moshe Rabbeinu, and Moshe Rabbeinu lo yada ki koron or panav. Moshe Rabbeinu wasn't aware, he didn't know that his face shone with a godly light. Shimon Bar Yochai said about him, he does know. In other words, there is a tzaddik emes, a bechina of shleimus, such that he actually knows, he has the full hasaga of what his madrega is. On the other hand, most other people, they see a little, but some see nothing. The Indian is to be mischazik. There's a very big Indian. It's a very big Indian. A person should always be finding something good about himself. And the Kudateva Torah Resh Pei Beis, RPB, the famous Torah, you know that every single Nikuda Torah gets together, every single Nikuda Torah that you did in your life, a good point that you did, a point of light of any Ma'aseh Tov, any good deed that you ever did in your life, comes, is shining because it's Kula Lakus Kula Kodesh. And it doesn't matter how flawed it is and how small it is, one piece of infinity is infinite. Nevertheless, you're supposed to pay attention and count, find good things and judge yourself favorably, because the Yetzirah is going to do it, as we learned last week. The Yetzirah is going to do everything and it's forced to find, to put you down, make you think that you're an absolute nothing. But more than that, it's a good Indian, find yourself Nikudas Tevis, but do not think that you have any clue on what it is that you did, the value of what it is that you have accomplished in this world. Because what you have accomplished in this world is beyond all measure, is beyond anything. No matter how much you see, no matter how much you know, everything that you do and did and will do in this world, connecting to the tzaddik, because the tzaddik emes lemaisa is behind the Torah mitzvahs of all the people, even the people that are against him, but especially those who are connecting to him and connecting and leaning on his koyach. Scharcha harbe me'od, your reward is without end. V'ne'eman Baal Melocha shalom schartem, that your Baal Melocha, who's the Kodesh Baruch Hu, who's the Baal Habais, is ne'eman to repay all, to give you your rewards and repay you for every single iota and calorie of effort and serious nefesh and patience and shalol deber yisurim and suffering, whatever it is that each and every one of us has gone through his lifetime. So B'ezrat Hashem, together, b'schus of Rabbeinu HaKodesh and all the tzaddikim, B'ezrat Hashem will be zoche to bias Mashiach tzidkeinu, B'ezrat Hashem b'kor b'yameinu, yulu shleim B'ezrat Hashem b'kor mamish. Have a good week, B'ezrat Hashem. The end of this week is going to be Rosh Chodesh Sivan, getting ready to Kabbalah Torah. So, yesh shishim riboy oises la Torah B'ezrat Hashem. It's all coming together.
Amen, amen.